Cheers and salutations. Welcome one and all to Americans Learn. My name is Kit. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe and hit that ring bell notification. That way all of you are made aware when we upload new content upon our YouTube channel. And today, we have ourselves a fun video titled The Last Stand, the 1527 Sack of Rome, Sabaton History, number 44. So, Sabaton History has been delivering, and when I saw the Sack of Rome, my heart broke for a second. I almost had flashbacks to an unbiased history, which was a great channel, good stuff. But I was saddened when it got to the fall of Rome, and to think that Rome would be sacked again and again and again and again. Oh, what a nightmare. Caesar and Augustus, and may he rest in peace for all eternity. The world let you down, Aurelian, are rolling in their graves with shame that Rome would be sacked. So, look, folks, we here at Americans Learn want you to support the original content creators. Sabaton History does great work. The original link to the video and, yes, the music video are in the description box below, so you know the rules. First, we get our learn on, and then we play some music, because that's how we roll. So grab yourself a tasty snack and a tasty beverage, and let's find out about The Last Stand, the 1527 Sack of Rome, Sabaton History. Oh, great Aurelian. Don't look. Don't look, Aurelian. Don't look.
I'm Indy Nidell.
And I'm Per Lionheart, and I'm here to talk about the Crusades. They were so exciting times, and I can't imagine the last stand in the Crusader times. It was like so damn cool to be a Crusader at that time. Crusades, they are the most important thing in Sabaton life. Crusaders, Crusades, all of that Crusades.
Crusade, you know what? That's just putting some warmth in my belly for a good old Warhammer 40k Crusade. I'll roll with the Black Templar. We got a crusade to do?
Let's get to it.
Crusades.
And more
Crusades, yes.
We
Crusades.
got to do
Crusades.
more Crusades.
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 Crusade. Look, if you're a fan of this channel, if you're a fan of Sabaton History, just write one word, Crusade. That's it. That's all I'm going to ask you to do. Crusade. 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 Crusade, man. Come on. Crusade. Crusade.
Hey, did you know that the Knights of the Templar Order might have founded Switzerland? When Pope Clement V declared in the early 1300s that all Templar knights were heretics and should be killed, many of them fled France, taking their huge treasury with them. The Templars, shrewd bankers, may have brought their treasure and their military expertise to a loose confederation of poor farmers just over the French border. Well, okay, that may actually be just a myth. But what if it was true, right? I mean, look at the Swiss flag. Quite similar to the Templars' cross if you swap the colors, right? Just saying. Anyhow, I will get back to factual history now. Over 200 years later, too. Rome, November 1523. The whole Vatican seemed like one big building site, trying to reinvent itself with classical palaces and basilicas. The city was quite cosmopolitan, where pilgrims and travelers mingled with people from all over Europe. But the mood just now was tense. Hushed voices spoke of the ongoing deadlock within the conclave of cardinals, trying to choose a new pope. Busy feet shuffled under the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, where Michelangelo's new ceiling frescoes barely got any attention, so focused was everyone on the decision at hand. Several seemingly suitable cardinals were proposed, but none could win, and it looked like it would all come down to the two candidates supported by the two great powers in the European world. Okay, for centuries, Italy and the Vatican had been the real-life chessboard for the ambitions of kings. By now, a new crisis was developing between Francis I of France and Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. Charles was pretty much the most powerful ruler in Europe since the days of Charlemagne 700 years earlier, and that certainly went to his head. He saw himself not only as divinely appointed ruler, but as the one and only Christian ruler of Europe, whose duty it was to dominate France and then unite Christendom under his banner. Giulio de' Medici was the papal candidate Charles supported. And on November 16th, he was elected and became Pope Clement VII. Everything seemed perfect, but as it would soon turn out,
Nothing is ever perfect. Nothing is ever over. Nothing is ever what it seems to be.
Clement VII's papacy would actually be one of the worst in history, and this is really saying something, but it began by Clement trying to be a good pope. Pope Leo X, Clement's predecessor, had been very popular in the Italian peninsula, and for a simple reason. He behaved less like a pope and more like an old Roman emperor. He was a lavish spender and a playboy who threw wild parties and extravagant banquets. Unlike Leo, Clement wanted to reign with scholars and clerics, with fasts and actual religious obligations.
I can't help but remember that great show that was on Showtime, The Borgias. Jeremy Michael Irons did a great job representing Pope Alexander and the head of the Borgia family. Great show. Only 3 seasons. Ugh. How can it end like that? Season 1 and 2 were great. Season 3 felt a little rush.
Surprisingly, this made him deeply unpopular with the clergy in Rome. Now, this was a problem, but he still had the emperor on his side, right? I mean, all he had to do was not agitate his royal benefactor, which he promptly did. Charles was fighting a war against France in northern Italy, and rumors reached his ears that Clement had been secretly in contact with the cities of Venice and Milan to form a defensive pact with Rome in case things went bad for the Holy Roman Empire. Charles was a bit irritated by that backdoor dealing, but okay, fair enough, plans for the future, right? Okay, he understood. But when secret peace negotiations between Clement and France were suddenly not so secret anymore, Charles was furious. This was outright treason. Fuming with anger, he even proclaimed that this Martin Luther guy in all the news actually might have had a point with his hatred for the papacy. Remember, we are...
Hey, remember that Martin Luther guy? Yeah. Yeah, no, I think he was onto something, man. Post this on my Facebook. Your Majesty, that doesn't exist yet. Well, then make it, you moron. Invent it. I don't think I'm the person that's supposed to invent it. All right, that's it. Everyone hang him. Hang this advisor of mine.
Right at the beginning of the Reformation, and Luther had only been condemned as an outlaw by Charles 2 years ago. Okay. After the decisive Battle of Pavia in 1525, where the French received a complete mauling by the imperial forces, with Francis even being captured, Charles gave his commander in Italy, Constable Bourbon, another task. With 5,000 Spanish troops, he should go south and have a little chat with the Pope. But Georg von Frundsberg, the famous German military commander, would rather see Clement hanged for his treachery, and he himself raised over 10,000 German Landsknechte out of his own pocket. And while the Spaniards were relatively disciplined, the Landsknechte were emphatically not. Soldiers for hire, loyal only to their pay, and many won over by Martin Luther's words, they were all too eager to get their hands on the wealth of the Catholic Church.
In the heart of the Holy See, in the home of Christianity, the seat of power is in danger. There's a foe of 1,000 swords. They've been abandoned by the Lord. The fall from grace will pave their path to damnation.
In early 1527, Bourbon's 5,000 Spanish and Frundsberg's 10,000 Germans linked up with other mercenaries eager for loot. But then Frundsberg suffered a stroke and returned north. Now Bourbon, stranded in Italy and trying to control both companies for which he didn't really have the money, was left with only one option: move swiftly forward and loot Rome. So by May the 5th, around 20,000 Imperials were knocking on Rome's front door, the Spirito Gate. Bourbon himself, wearing a bright white cloak over his armor, ordered his troops to build ladders and scale the walls. But they were fired upon by arquebusiers and light artillery and took heavy losses. See, fortified cities could not be easily stormed at the time, not without heavy artillery, and Bourbon's army had none. And while the garrison of Rome defended its walls, Pope Clement could still rely on the elite soldiers of the Italian Black Bands and his personal protectors, the 189-man-strong Swiss Guard. Swiss mercenaries were extraordinarily good soldiers and highly valued all across Europe. But while the defenders were busy pouring boiling liquid onto the massive attackers, a dense fog suddenly fell. It became so thick that the men could barely see each other. And the defenders on the walls were firing blindly. Realizing his chance, Bourbon ran forward, holding one of the ladders himself and urging his troops onward. But he was hit and killed instantly. News of his death spread rapidly, and the initial confusion in the ranks of the attackers turned into a lust for revenge for killing their leader and, more importantly, their paymaster. The
Our leader died. Dude, he was paying us money, man. Oh, crap. Let's go kill these bastards.
Imperials surged forward, and their numbers overwhelmed the defenders. With the gates then thrown open for the rest of the Imperials, the defense of Rome collapsed. The invaders swarmed
Look away, Ghost of Aurelian. Look away.
over the city. And with Bourbon dead, there was no authority to even try to restrain them, if that was even possible by this point. The Black Bands were routed, while the Swiss Guard gathered at the obelisk in front of St. Peter's, readying themselves for a last stand near the Teutonic Cemetery. It was their duty to fight and die for the Pope's safety. And so they did. Armed with halberds and swords in their hands, and faith in their hearts, they waited for the final battle on the steps of St. Peter's. Stand firm, therefore, having girded your loins with truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace, in addition to all, taking up the shield of faith. Not that much is known about the actual fighting. Heavily outnumbered, they stood true to their vows and formed a defensive wall of halberds in front of St. Peter's. In a fight they could not hope to win, the men of the Swiss Guard were gradually overwhelmed and slaughtered. Still, their sacrifice gave the Pope enough time to escape through a secret passage. Accompanied by 42 survivors of the 189, they ran across the Passetto di Borgo up to the Castel Sant'Angelo. More and more of the guard died along the way, fending off the pursuing Imperials. The last few still standing made it into the Castello with the Pope, and then they could fire heavy artillery and falconets into the mass of attackers, preventing the Castello from being overwhelmed. The Pope and those closest to him were safe, thanks to the sacrifice of the Swiss Guard.
Then the 189 in the service of heaven, they're protecting the holy line. It was 1527. Give their lives on the steps to heaven. Thy will be done.
But a horrible massacre was unfolding down below as the Imperials, the mercenaries, made their way through the city. No one was spared their wrath, not women, not children, not the clergy, nor the holy sites. Monks and priests were brutally killed. Nuns were raped on sacred altars. People were cut, beaten, and branded, their teeth and nails pulled out for the information about their valuables. Sources speak of molten lead being poured down throats and severed testicles in the streets. Tombs were looted. Holy relics were carried away, often by famous artists and noblemen who now served as porters for the soldiers. From high above, Pope Clement was forced to look upon the destruction that he was unable to prevent. He grew a beard as a sign of mourning. It would take until February 1528 that the last of the barbaric invaders had left Rome. What they left behind was a city in ruins, with dead by the thousands floating in the river. It would take decades for Rome to recover. The city's population was reduced by some 80%, and it is seen by many as the end of the Italian Renaissance. But the sack of Rome affected more than just the city. Afterwards, Clement was no longer able to oppose Charles's ambitions, and a religious power shift away from the Pope and toward the emperor had lasting consequences for all of Europe. For example, the Pope at Charles' direction, refused to annul the marriage of Charles' aunt, Catherine of Aragon, to England's Henry VIII, which kicked off the English Reformation. The split in continental Europe between Protestant and Catholic was made permanent by the sack. And Martin Luther even pointed out, Christ reigns in such a way that the emperor who persecutes Luther for the Pope is forced to destroy the Pope for Luther.
Wow.
And while that's a bit general, the power of the papacy was diminished afterwards, even as the Inquisition grew under Charles's son, Philip II. The rift between Catholic and Protestant would culminate in the 30 Years' War, about which Sabaton wrote several songs on the Carolus Rex album. And as for their heroic fighting of the Swiss Guard, it would go down in history as one of the great last stands, and left them with the everlasting gratitude of the papacy. And to this day, the Swiss Guard, still in their traditional garb nearly 500 years later, serves as the honor guard of the Pope. So I know a bunch of people are going to be wondering why we started this episode with Crusades, but it's not about the Crusades.
No, it's a meme. It became a meme. I guess somebody misunderstood
The memes are delicious.
the song, or too many people started misunderstanding the song. So our lovely Sabaton fans, instead of bashing them and, trolling them on the internet, made memes about them instead.
Now, do you have a whole bunch of memes of yours?
Yeah, there's been a few over the years. I think this one and, well, the Winged Hussars.
Oh yeah, but
Yes.
that's see, I knew that one. I didn't know this one though. So.
It's even sometimes going only in text form. You don't even need a
Yeah.
picture. Sometimes you are on Reddit reading about a totally different topic, and then somebody just writes, and then the Winged Hussars arrived.
Yeah, we've seen that in our comments a lot over the last 8 months or so. We've been doing this show, or more than that now. I've been fortunate enough to have a couple of memes done about me. More with the Great War because it was longer than World War II one. And my favorite one, and we're going to put a picture of it in here. We were at the Tank Museum Bovington, and David Willey, the director of the Tank Museum there, very eloquent guy, knows his stuff, popular, he's really good camera. We were doing interviews and stuff, and somebody got this photo of it, and they put this.
Find someone who looks at you like David looks at Indy. Aw. Now that's a crusade that I hope someday to have, or someone to crusade to look at me that way. That is just beautiful, magnifique.
But and what about the actual song itself, Beyond the Memes?
Beyond the Memes was actually the first song written with Chris, one of the most popular from that album. Really nice vibe to it. I don't know what it is. It's really Sabaton. If you listen to it, you don't even have to wait for the vocals to start. You will know it's a Sabaton song only from.
You mean from this part right here?
Yes, that's the one I mean.
That's the part you mean, yeah. I think you pretty much got that. So, could you say? I mean, not would you want to say, but could you say, if you had to say, could you pick a single 10-second thing of a Sabaton song and say that's us and that defines us, or is that too much?
I can. No, I can, but it's not going to be this song. It's going to be Prima Victoria.
Okay, okay.
Through the gates of hell as we make our way to heaven, through the Nazi lines, and then the choir, Prima Victoria.
We can hear that too. See, now you got, man, they get a bonus today. They get all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah.
You kid, we're starting to spoil you guys.
Yeah, we're generous guys.
Yeah, very generous.
It's not too
Too
long.
generous.
It's only a couple months away before this channel will be a year old.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I know. We started. The first episode came out February 7th.
It feels much shorter than that, I can tell you.
Yeah, but we've done dozens of episodes, and we've got dozens more. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do one of every Sabaton song.
I would like that very much. And if you guys have anything special you'd like to see for our 1-year anniversary when it comes, we may as well start talking about that now.
They're gonna start asking for bloopers, you know that.
Oh, well, we don't have any bloopers, do we?
No bloopers, none.
We delete it all, trust me.
Delete it all? Oh, damn. Dude, my life is a blooper. Okay, no, we do have some great bloopers. I mean, none that involve him. They only involve Power.
Exactly.
Actually, that'd be funny if we only released pair bloopers as our 1 year thing. Ladies and gentlemen, here's pair. Oh, that'd be brilliant. Okay, well, as long as we're getting off topic, I suppose that is it for today for Sabaton History, yes?
It is, I think, yes.
All right, well, we'll see you next time. Rock and roll.
All right, that's it for this week. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you can help us out here now. So, we want to keep this going. It's a lot of fun to do, but it takes some doing. So you need to click on notifications, you gotta subscribe, and if you can, we would love it if you would become a Patreon and help us out.
Great.
So, hopefully, until we meet again next week.
Awesome. Awesome. So you know what the rules are. First, please, the original link to this video is in the description box below. It's the right thing to do. It's the one thing to do. But since you sat there and got your learn on, time for a treat. Sabaton, The Last Stand. Let's learn about it. Let's hear it. And you know the rules. I'm going to play the song in its full entirety. So let's get ready to enjoy it and check this video out in a 3, a 2, a 1. And I'll give my final thoughts at the end.
In the heart of the Holy See, in the home of Christianity, the seat of power is in danger. There's a foe of 1,000 souls. They've been abandoned by the Lord. The fall from grace will pave their path to damnation. They're the 189 in the service of heaven. They're protecting the holy line. It was 1527. Give their lives on the steps to heaven. Thy will be done. For the grace, for the might of our Lord, for the home of the holy, for the faith, for the way of the sword, give their lives so boldly. For the grace, for the might of our Lord, in the name of His glory, for the faith, for the way of the sword, come and tell the story again. On the guard of 42, along the secret avenue, the South Sant'Angelo is waiting. They're the gods of the Holy See. They're the gods of Christianity. The God through history is made with salvation. They're the 189 in the service of heaven. They're protecting the holy line. It was 1527. Give their lives on the steps to heaven. Thy will be done. For the grace, for the might of our Lord, for the home of the holy, for the faith, for the way of the sword, give their lives so boldly. For the grace, for the might of our Lord, in the name of His glory, for the faith, for the way of the sword, come and tell the story again. Salvation, with dedication, no capitulation, annihilation, ego commendation, reincarnation, heaven is your destination. Triumph for salvation, with dedication, no capitulation, annihilation, ego commendation, reincarnation, heaven is your destination. In the name of God, for the grace, for the might of our Lord, for the home of the holy, for the faith, for
perfect song for Christmas. Why not? First of all, outstanding information and I guess a breakdown of the 1527 sack of Rome. Now, I've never knew about this sack, and unfortunately, hey, there's a lot of stuff that flies under my radar, but this is captured much of my attention, and I'm so curious now to learn more about the ramifications because this is what led up to the rise of Protestant to the Protestant faith. Had a little study there. I'm very sorry. Uh, it also led to the papacy losing its power, and well, I guess one action in time leads to a huge ripple effect. So there are always consequences and repercussions for actions and choices being made. Um, it's brutal to hear about what happened to the citizens and the people who were unable to get protection or leave the city in time. That amount of destruction, completely unnecessary. And those mercenaries behaved in the way mercenaries do, um, which again I have to agree with many points that is in the fantastic book, the Prince, and there's also the subsequent follow book, the Discourses. But in the Prince, the author describes how mercenaries should never be relied upon. They're loyal to the coin, and they're just overall bad news. So that's the thing. However, knowing what the Holy Roman Army was trying to do, and as it tried to sack Rome, the Swiss Guard made their heroic stand, their last stand. And I am curious now about further information about whether or not the Swiss Guard can trace its roots and origins to a handful of Knight Templar that possibly might have escaped to Switzerland. And, well, the legacy they left behind was their elite training. Because for those who don't know, the Knights Templar were, in many ways, the elite military force of the time until they were burnt. And by the way, final word, crusade, 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 crusade. Listen, we played the music video, which again, I have to say 10 out of 10. If that doesn't warrant in the comment section, crusade, or if you didn't get your learn on, type crusade and go on a crusade for learning. All right. And if you're a Warhammer 40K fan, in the name of the Black Templar, you have to go on a crusade. Make it happen. Make it a spiritual crusade, an educational crusade. And since we are in the merry month of December, the final year of 2023, may this year, I want to forget 2023. So there you go. That's how I feel about it. But let's push forward for a better world, a better future, and final note, crusade. Keep on crusading.